1993, old-school boxing fans will remember this was a boxing build-up like no other in Great Britain. Not only was there a British heavyweight champion, but the heavyweight champion was fighting the #1 British contender on British soil. In the red corner and standing a towering 6 feet 5 inches tall and with a lean 100-kilo frame, Lennox the Lion Lewis. Lennox would come in not only the unified world champion, but arguably the greatest heavyweight champion from the UK in nearly 100 years. Standing in his was on that freezing cold winter night was a man with a punch that hit like a donkey's kick, Frank True Brit Bruno. Frank would stand slightly shorter than the champion at 6 feet 3, but would outweigh Lennox by over 10 pounds. Frank would not only bring the muscle that night, but bring the crowd too, being the home favourite despite both fighters being born in the same town. Hey fight fans, and welcome to the latest edition of Below the Belt, where we not just call the fight for what it was, but to relive the emotions felt by boxing fans all over the world. In the rich tapestry of boxing history, there are fights that transcend more than just 12 rounds of throwing leather. There are fighters that become legends, etched in the collective memory of fans worldwide. Today we delve into one such epic showdown, the clash of titans between Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. The title on the line that night was a belt that Lennox Lewis had won in an unconventional way. The WBC heavyweight title was gifted when Riddick Bowe refused to fight Lewis, so the WBC gave Lewis the title in early 1993. Lewis had previously been the WBC's #1 contender by defeating Razor Ruddock for the Commonwealth titles. Lewis made light work of the bookies' fave that night, putting the fight to bed in just 2 rounds. Lewis then became the first British world heavyweight champion since Bob Fitzsimmons lost the title in 1899. This wouldn't be Lennox's first defence of his title. Just a few months after gaining the belt, he would go on to beating Tony Tucker in an awkward fight that would see Lennox go all 12 rounds with the American. Frank and Lennox were in the heart of the boxing world, where the two British heavyweights rose to prominence in the late 20th century. On one side we have Lennox Lewis, the man mountain with lightning in his fists, known for his technical brilliance and devastating power punches. On the other, the beloved Frank Bruno, a national hero revered for his raw strength and unwavering determination. Both men had carved out illustrious careers leading up to their momentous encounter. Lennox Lewis, a former Olympic gold medalist, had dominated the heavyweight division with a string of impressive victories. His opponents trembled at the mere mention of his name, knowing the brutal punishment he could inflict inside the ring. Meanwhile, Frank Bruno had endeared himself to fans with his infectious charisma and never-say-die attitude. Despite facing setbacks in his career, Bruno's resilience had earned him a shot at the ultimate prize, the heavyweight championship of the world. Frank Bruno had previously lost to Tim Witherspoon in July 1986 for the WBA heavyweight title at Wembley Stadium, a fight that Frank was favourite to win, and subsequently caused a small riot after the loss with the drunken fans, and of course to the very famous fight with the most dangerous man on the planet, Mike Tyson. Frank lost in February 1989 for the WBA, WBC and IBF titles in the home of modern boxing, Las Vegas. But looking to go on and do the business, on a fateful night, the stage was set for a showdown of epic proportions. The date was October 1st, 1993, and the venue was Cardiff Arms Park in Wales. Thousands of fans packed the arena, eagerly anticipating the clash between two British icons. The fight was the first time that two British-born boxers had fought for the world heavyweight title, although Bruno had questioned how British Lewis really was, as he had won a gold medal for Canada at the 1988 Olympic Games as an amateur. Bruno described Lewis as not British, but said, "It's about boxing. I'm sick and tired of his pretenses. He calls himself champion. He acts like he's a Sugar Ray Leonard or a Willie Pep or a Joe Louis, and that nobody even cares about Lennox Lewis in Britain." To counter the Bruno claim that he was not British, Lewis said, "What was I supposed to do, not follow my mother to Canada? Look, I've fought more British fighters than that guy has. He makes a fool of himself dressing up in girls' clothing on television." Lewis would go on in the interview and call Bruno an Uncle Tom. The fight was promoted by Frank Maloney Panics Promotions and by Main Events. It was a pay-per-view event with HBO in the United States and on Sky Sports in the United Kingdom.
Due to go 12 rounds, but will it?
Bruno fought gallantly and at times in the bout would really let Lennox know he was there, not just to make up the number, but was there to win. But Lennox would show his pedigree and prove to the British fans why he was the world champion by outmanoeuvring Frank's efforts. Despite Bruno's valiant efforts to mount a comeback, it was clear that he was outmatched by the younger, more agile Lewis. The championship rounds descended into a brutal display of power and determination, with Lewis refusing to let up until the final bell.
You may be watching the last moments in the career of one of Britain's most popular fighters.
Lennox Lewis was declared the victor, retaining his heavyweight title and cementing his status as one of the greatest boxers of his generation. But in defeat, Frank Bruno had won the hearts of millions, proving himself a warrior till the very end.
I've got to say, you took your heart and soul into that ring. Yeah. You made a lot of people proud, Frank. You gave it your all.
Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you. Cheers.
His bravery and determination in the face of adversity endeared him to fans around the world, ensuring his place in boxing lore for generations to come.
Lewis is still the champion. That's the bottom line in Cardiff.
The undercard featured Joe Calzaghe, who made his first professional appearance in front of barely 300 spectators as the area was still filling. Calzaghe would later become an undefeated world champion in 2 weight classes and, along with Lewis, a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Joe would start his career with a win over fellow Brit Paul Hanlon by a technical knockout in the first round. We leave you with one question. Are you an old school boxing fan? If so, give that subscribe button a stiff jab. Until next time, fight fans, I've been Frank Monroe here at Below the Belt Boxing. Take care.
This time is when I had him hurt. The referee stepped in. I don't know.